I'm John, and today, I want answers about Matt Kirshen. There's no stopping us now because we're live.
John wants answers. John wants answers. Give John answers. Give John answers. John wants answers. John wants answers. Give John answers now.
Thank you. You may be seated. Check your calendar. If it says September 12th, 2015, then we're live. My guest today is Matt Kirshen. Hi, Matt Kirshen.
Hey, John wants answers.
How are you?
I'm very good. How are you? I like how you've been doing the show for a while and you still get to be baffled by, not just like the fake baffled at the beginning of the show, but just all the setup as well. Like the bits that they don't get to see, still just...
I think they saw some of it today.
They did see some of it. Some of it was, I think we were a fair way into the setup before someone went, oh, by the way, people at home are watching this right now. The bit before the show starts. You know the bit that people, like many shows wouldn't do that. Many shows aren't brave enough to show the bit when no one's ready.
Right. Brave is what we are.
Yeah. Most people kind of think, no, we'll show the bit when everything's in place and professionalism can ensue. But you're like, nah, let's kind of go straight in with the...
People tell me all the time, John, you're so brave for doing this.
Yeah. I hope that was a chair squeaking noise you made as you went forward and it wasn't...
Oh, that was my phone telling me...
that was your phone buzzing.
I have to go for a walk in 5 minutes, so we got to...
Oh, I got to rest this one then.
Wrap this up quickly. Matt Kirshen. If you don't know Matt Kirshen, he's from television.
Television?
I first saw Matt Kirshen on Last Comic Standing.
That was a while back now.
A while back. That's when I first saw you. And then since then, you've been on The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
I have.
You've been on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon.
I have been on that too.
And you've been on numerous. You've been on Comedy Central and...
Been on various different things. Yeah, little TV. Every so often someone from TV decides they want to put me on there, and who am I to say no?
Exactly.
Who am I to deny what they want? Who am I to, like after they've begged me to do their show after my agents repeatedly inquired if I could do it. And I'm like, yeah, well, go on then.
You wouldn't believe
Let's make it happen.
The number of calls it took for us to get you on here today.
Yeah, I mean,
we've been talking to you for like a year almost, I think.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
Because, like, we should make it clear, this isn't like a continuous process of like I'm in this part of the country maybe once a year.
Yes.
So what you actually mean is we tried to set it up last time when I was coming through town and we couldn't make it work.
The last time you were here in this part of town, I saw you and said, hey, you want to be on my show? And you're like, someday. Yeah,
I can't remember. I think around that time I had no daytime free.
Okay.
And this time I'm clearly far less popular.
Here we are.
So, stood in front of a genuine brick wall that you built just for the occasion?
Exactly. So, brick walls, that's popular for stand-up comedy.
For American that's a very American stand-up comedy thing.
Oh.
But I do stand-up comedy in America now, so that's what I like. I think it probably is because of the improv, or there was one particular... What always surprises me is you go to some comedy clubs, like some of them have brick walls, and they're like, we'll leave the brick wall there, and that'll be the background. But some don't naturally have brick walls as buildings, so they either build brick walls behind, or they have a backdrop that's like a painting of a brick wall that they install in front of the normal wall. And you go, you don't have to. You don't have to have that aesthetic. You could have curtains or like sort of theatrical drapes or some other kind of backdrop or just whatever the wall happens to be with a little design on it. But no, they're like brick wall. That's what.
Was it the improv that started that, you think?
I don't know. I don't know enough about American comedy history, but I think it might have been. But I don't know, maybe it gives this impression that like all comedians are effectively just shouting in an alleyway. I think that's the look they're going for. They're like there's cats boning just over there, and there's some refuse that's been knocked over, and in a second Starsky and Hutch are gonna drive through at speed. But right now, there's a guy who's telling some jokes, and that's what we're here for.
That sounds like a great show. I would watch that show.
Yeah.
With cats in the
angry alleyway comedy show.
Yes.
Start it now. You heard it here first. If someone does this, we have the copyright. Matt's Angry Alleyway Comedy Hour, and it'll be people trying to do stand-up in an alleyway with all of the distractions that an alleyway entails. Maybe someone's doing drug deals just off camera, and you've got to deal with all of that. And
just the angry comedians like Lewis Black. And that kind of guy?
Oh, no, I think you should have like that as well, absolutely. But we shouldn't restrict it to that. We should have mild-mannered comics as well. Maybe someone trying to do maybe like a genteel sketch duo competing for attention with some restaurateurs having a smoke. because a lot of things happen in an alleyway.
Old spaghetti house will be next door, and they'll be
Yeah.
just like watching.
Yeah, alleyways are very exciting places. There might be someone's lover trying to escape down the fire escape because the angry husband's come home, and this is all stuff that you're going to have to either ignore or incorporate into your act.
So there'll be a potpourri of subplots during the comedy club.
And I think if the series goes on, you'll get to know some of the characters. You'll be like, oh, that's Rodrigo. He works in the kitchen just opposite, and he tries to have a smoke break once every 15 minutes or so. So you're going to get to see him quite a lot. And
All right. So last comic standing.
Yes.
That's where I know you from. You don't know me from that, but I know you from that.
no, because TVs are generally only a one-way process.
Right. What season were you in?
I was season 5, which was 2007.
Okay.
And that was the season where they went international. That was their big
Their
gimmick.
hook. Oh.
Yeah, their gimmick that season was they did the auditions across America, but they also went to Montreal in Canada, Sydney, Australia, and London in England, which is where I went.
So international just means 3 other countries that speak English.
3 other countries that speak English. So the year after that, they went more international, but rather than going to all those places, they flew something like 30 to 40 people to Miami from different countries. They had an Israeli guy, they had an Indian guy, they had a few other people from non-English speaking, non-traditional comedy countries.
All did their set in English, though.
They all did their set in English.
Okay.
Yes. They weren't that experimental.
Because I think it'd be crazy to have like a Japanese guy
just
make it to like the 3rd round and no one knows what he's saying the entire time.
With maybe like a UN-style translator, like everyone just has their earpieces in for that time, and there's someone just slowly, he says.
So you auditioned in London, and
Yes, I
was
did.
there just the one winner from London? Was that you?
No. So 3 of us went through to the semi-finals from. Actually, no, it was only 2. Because Jeannie Asheray was another finalist on my season, and she's English, but she actually came through the Australian audition because she was on tour in Sydney at the time.
That's a trick.
Yeah, so they. and Americans can't easily tell the difference between British and Australian accents. They
Right.
might have thought she was an Australian one. And then there was
Did Buck Starr audition? Buck
Starr.
There's this guy named Buck Starr.
Oh,
would
he showed up
travel,
on various different seasons, hasn't
like
he?
every single audition he would go to on the road and follow them
That's
around.
right.
And
He
never
wa-
picked him until they wore him down, but he didn't make it very far.
I think he might have been on that season, but he came through maybe Minneapolis that time or or Phoenix. I don't know. But yeah, he's definitely cropped up more than once. I remember that happening.
So did you win?
No, I didn't. But thanks for the
Oh.
reminder. Look at where I am right now. Do you think I won?
You are on an award-winning TV show. We've won awards.
Oh yeah.
We've had stars on the show.
It was a good season for people with hindsight. But
Who was
so
the-
John Reap won my season.
John Reap.
But my season also included Lavelle Crawford, who then cropped up in Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Had Doug Benson, who's all over the place.
Doug Benson, he's funny.
And there was there was someone called Amy Schumer, but she's kind of disappeared a bit as well.
Amy
She's
Schumer.
kind of
Was she in your season?
yeah, she was my season, but you know.
Oh, can you
I hope
get her-
she's doing okay. I don't know what she's doing these days, but
Oh.
I hope she's scraping by.
Oh, can you get her on my show?
Almost certainly not.
Oh, you're not in contact
It's
anymore?
like she's a hard person to pin down these days.
Okay.
She's doing quite a few things.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't win because you were a comedian, I remember.
Well, thank you.
And I don't remember like all the comedians on that show. So I remember I was probably rooting from you from the very beginning, like,
Well,
that guy.
I appreciate that. And the thing I've told people since, when I've had friends of mine who are on subsequent seasons, is it's very distracting having what's basically a telephone fart machine on the table. Like, maybe put a cloth underneath it so that it absorbs some of the...
Okay. Yeah, we've got some tweets coming in already.
Well, that's excellent.
Viewers are excited.
What I've told various friends of mine who've done the show since is you probably won't win. Only one person's going to win. Your main goal in it is to be remembered and come out of it with fans.
Yes.
And that kind of happened for me. Like, I was on it enough. I got enough screen time. I got put up for enough challenges that I came out of it with some, like a decent following. And then that let me tour America, and then that led to some other TV opportunities.
Like the winners are usually great comedians, but
Yeah.
I often discover a lot of other comedians who I go see live in the clubs after that who weren't winners.
Yeah, the winners are often not the people who then go on to be the most successful after that. But then who knows? I mean, there's no way of telling. And then there's like rarities like Amy, where like that's one in a generation where
I
she
didn't
just
realize.
goes stratospheric.
Yeah, I didn't realize she came from that show.
That was her. I think she'd done Live at Gotham before that, but that was her first proper TV break. And then obviously she went on to do 100 other TV things, and now she's a movie star.
Movie stars, yeah. So do you still watch Last Comic Standing?
I'm 3 episodes behind on the most recent season, so no spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Although I
Okay.
do now know who wins. But but I missed most of the previous season, but I've always got friends on it, so I'll generally tune in just to see how my friends do, and also just out of vague interest to see how much they've changed it. And
So the most recent season is like the most normal season they've ever had.
yeah, as far as I can understand, they did no challenges, they did no gimmicks. It was pretty much you show up, you do comedy, and then they tell you whether you move on or not.
Yeah, because the first season was pretty crazy. It was a cross between American Idol and like Big Brother.
Yeah, and
They were trapped in a house, right?
a few of the first seasons they did that, including the one before and after mine.
Oh, so you didn't have to...
We were in the Sheraton.
Oh, you got to stay in a hotel.
We just got to be in a hotel, and after they finished filming the day, like the filming days lasted a while, but then by like 8 or 9, whatever, they stopped filming, and then
Were you
you were back in your hotel room, you had access to a phone.
were you sequestered? Like, could you walk outside and...
No, you could walk outside. They semi-sequestered you during the filming block. They were like, please don't leave the hotel. But I think that's mostly so that they just knew that they weren't, like, filming costs money. And delays in filming costs a lot of money for network TV. So they really didn't want to be like, all right, we need Matt right now. Where is he? Oh, he's in Santa Monica. He's on the beach. We can't get him. So they were like, please stay in the hotel during this block of time. But they weren't, like, we could go to the restaurant, we could go to the gym, we could go to the pool, we could go back to our room, and we could Skype our friends and that kind of thing. It was fine.
And it was... Now, when you did it, it was semi-live. Like, while you were doing the show, they were airing the episodes as you did them.
They did the initial rounds and the semi-final before they started broadcasting. And then the final stages, the final 10, was being broadcast as it was being filmed. Because by the last few episodes, it was phone votes, which they're not doing now.
Yeah.
Like, now they kind of film it all in one block, like The Apprentice or whatever, and then they just, like, they know who the winner is, and they're all sworn to secrecy before it even starts broadcasting. But my one, they were like, no, on a week-by-week basis, people were being eliminated by phone votes.
Right.
So it was kind of weird, because when you were on the show, there was like a change between like the semi-finals and the first challenge, where suddenly the shows had gone out and people knew who I was.
Oh, so before you're doing stuff and no one knew who you were.
So yeah, when I did the semi-finals, I was still having to kind of introduce myself to an audience. But then by the elimination rounds, I was like, okay, I could just go straight into material, because they know, oh, this is the English guy who looks young. Like, I didn't need to kind of go, I'm the English guy who looks young. I didn't need to start with that, because they were already like, yeah, we know. We just get to a bit, do a joke at us now.
Okay, make us laugh, young-looking boy.
Yeah, who's English? Do we mention that? We're aware of those facts.
So the series have had a storied existence. I remember like one season, while it was airing, they canceled it.
Yeah, that was Alonzo Bowden's win season. That was season 3, and that was before I got to America, so I only heard about it after the fact. But they did a weird thing where season 3 was like a best-of between seasons 1 and 2's finalists. And then just before the end, they cancelled it. Like the final episode, it was just like one episode left to go, and they just didn't air it. So they just went, oh, by the way, Alonzo won.
It was crazy.
Like as a press release.
It's like they air in the summertime when other shows aren't going. It's like, what do they have more important to air
I don't know.
than the finale of
I don't know, but it's TV, and I'm sure someone crunched the numbers and worked out that a rerun of Law & Order was going to make them more money than... Is Law & Order on NBC? I don't know. Whatever. They probably worked it out like, we'll make more money on advertising doing that than if we air this one episode. So what we're doing. I don't know. I don't. That's the side of the business that's why I give agents money, because they do that stuff. They know how these things work, and you just kind of go, you just try and be funny and try and write good things and try and perform them well and hope that people like them.
So right after that happened, so NBC announced they weren't going to air the finale.
Yeah.
And then I saw Alonzo Bowden and some other guys perform at Rooster Teeth Feathers.
Oh, yeah.
That weekend. And I think it was even before, because eventually they did air the finale on Comedy Central or one of those.
That sounds about right, because they've marathoned episodes since, and I know that because once every year or so I get a check for about $20.
Wow.
Where
I get no money here.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think one of them's due any second now. So if any little gold diggers want to hit me up, anyone want to find a little rich spouse there? I got coin trickling in. But yeah, so I think they would have probably broadcast the whole season then, including the final episode.
Oh, I think in this case, NBC canceled it. They didn't show the finale. But then a week or two later on Comedy Central, one of those, they did air the finale.
Right, yeah, that'll be it.
But it was a press release. I already knew they said it. Then I saw Alonzo Bowden, in the Rooster Teeth feathers in Sunnyvale. So,
which is where I am right this very weekend.
Yes. So if you want to see a Last Comic Standing, or actually you weren't the last comic standing. If you want to see a guy who was on the show last
if you want to see someone who was near the last comic standing,
then
one of the not even penultimate, nearly. Oh, there are a couple of good Canadians on my season as well. Jerry D, Deb DiGiovanni, super funny. Ralph Harris was on it as well.
I don't know that.
They're all the finalists. But Deb and Jerry both do very well in Canada now.
Oh, there's this Lachlan Patterson from last season. He's Canadian.
He is. Ian Bagg is a Canadian who's on this current season.
Oh, yeah.
As is Norm Macdonald, who's one of the judges this season.
Norm Macdonald, he's interesting. He's like the guy who says bad things to everybody.
And sometimes very good. I don't know what role he is. And
he's like the Simon Cowell, I guess.
Well, I don't know. And it's Norm as well, so you're never quite sure whether he's playing a character where he goes from being completely tongue-in-cheek to 100% earnest, and he'll switch on a dime, and it's really funny to see. I don't know. I love Norm anyway, so I'm just happy to see Norm Macdonald talking. I think he's
when wonderful. I saw him, he'd be like, I really didn't care for that.
Yeah,
that's what he'd say, like deadpan. And as an audience member, I'm not sure, is he just screwing with this guy, or is he just doesn't like this guy and telling him right to his face?
Yeah, I think it's often the latter. I mean, he's a real comedy purist, and sometimes he is just, nah, it's gimmicky. Got a reaction, but it wasn't for me. And he'll say it. I don't know. I think he's an interesting choice to the judge. He's kind of a weird, kind of cool counterbalance to the other two.
And Roseanne Barr surprises me because she looks better than I ever remember her looking ever before.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she lost weight, and she looks better now than when she was younger.
It's almost like she's a lot richer now. It's almost like
just looking
she's
good
an incredibly wealthy woman.
So when you auditioned, was it like just a long line of like 200 comics? You had to be in line and
no. Here's the other dirty little secret of auditioning in Britain. We were all really suspicious of the show because we hadn't seen it. It hadn't even been broadcast. That was the first season where they even showed it internationally. So we were like, I don't know if we're being set up for a full. Is this like doing Big Brother, where they're gonna make us basically parade around half naked and squawk like an animal at the camera, and then otherwise we don't get fed or whatever. Like, is it like we didn't know what so everyone was very wary, and so people did go for the auditions, but we trickled in throughout the day as word got out. Like, it seems to be all right. They seem to be fairly even-handed and fair, but they had to cheat the line. Like when they did the establishing shot at the beginning of the episode where they run along the line outside and everyone goes woo. And everyone's excited to be there. People in LA really were sleeping overnight. They had a 2-day line where they didn't have to fake that thing. Like, if anything, they had to kind of tone down how crazy it was.
Right.
London, they were getting crew to stand in they were definitely, and they had extras dressed up in costumes. There was like a guy dressed as a beefeater and someone else dressed as like the Queen or whatever, just as a little extra gimmick. But they did it as a joke, but they also kind of had to do it because they didn't get that line. They didn't get that sort of 1,000 people descending at exactly.
So it was like a
start time.
A few dozen people who competed, do you think?
Oh, like over the course of the day, they had probably a couple of hundred people come into audition, but we weren't there from 5 in the morning. Like no one had their sleeping bags on the sidewalk, waiting to be the first in line. Like we were warily rocking up, reading the contracts like, this...
It sounds suspicious.
Is this safe? Are we okay here? And then I'm happy with how it turned out. I don't think they screwed us around. But we were nervous because this weird American TV show is appearing in London that we've never seen, and we've just heard rumors about from like online forums. And also there's just it's a reality show as well, so you've got that extra level of suspicion then. You go like, it's kind of dickish to be part of a reality show. What am I doing here?
Are you selling out?
Yeah, which, yes, you are, to an extent. But then you are when you do most things that beyond just like everything in the business is selling out to an extent, unless you just have this underground, unless you just work in alleyways, which brings me back to my main point.
Right.
The alleyway show will be the only true, honest, non-sellout show on TV. It won't even be on TV. Like, people will film it with their camera phones and maybe upload it if they can be bothered.
There'll be a YouTube thing, a shaky YouTube thing.
Yeah, and nothing even official on our channels. It'll just be like, if it happens to get caught, then it'll go online. But with no commercialism. This is the purest of the pure comedy form.
Okay.
Like, we'll have rats. And we might have to bring the rats in, but...
Well, if you bring the rats in, then you're like...
Oh, that's cheating.
Yeah,
You're right,
that's
absolutely.
cheating.
Oh, God.
It's got to be legit,
See,
man.
this is how quickly you sell out. Like, instantly, you have an idea, and then the cameras come in, and everything gets perverted within seconds. Within seconds, we had the purest of forms, and now already we're phoning up rat handlers.
I once waited 2 hours in line to be on the InXS reality TV show.
You were telling me about that just beforehand.
Yeah. I didn't get anywhere on camera.
But here's what you told me before the show. You told me that you can't sing.
Correct.
But you are a very big fan of NXS,
Yes.
and you're hoping that your fandom and your enthusiasm would carry over the... What I'm going to say is a fairly major impediment. Like, I'm going to say a fairly big stumbling block when it comes to being part of a thing.
Well, yeah.
Is if, like, the main skill set they're looking for is one that you lack.
I thought it would be a great life experience.
That's a fair enough reason to do it.
And now I'm telling stories about it 10 years later.
Perfect.
There you go. I have memories. We got to stop for a break, and then we come back. We're going to read your tweets, and we're going to talk more to Matt about being British in his podcast. So don't go away. Okay. I forgot to press start on my timer. So can someone tell me how far in we are? 6:40 left. Ooh, we got to move. Okay, we have... how do I do this? I don't do that. I want to do... Oh, man.
I think
Let's bring this whole up. Let's bring all of this up.
Here's what I think you want to do. And then edit this. And then this is count up or count down?
This is countdown. That's count up.
Well, there you go. It's counting up now.
She said that's before the run of credits. You get that?
Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, when that's 6:40, then we're done. Okay. You can start shooting the gun at us when it's ready to go. Now, I know my Twitter has been making noises, so we got stuff. All right. Oh, come back. And we're back. And we're with Matt Kirshen, and we're going to take your tweets. So I see a few tweets here.
What do we got, John?
We got, how are we supposed to tweet you if we don't remember the Twitter tag? You can tweet us at John Wants Answer. Wait, did I mess up? Did I just do it? Oh, we got sidetracked by far. Look at all these. The opinions stated here are my own, not necessarily those of my company. Okay, tweet us at John Wants Answer. There's no S on the end because S for suck, and we don't. We got another tweet from Keith. I like this guy a lot more than that regular guy. Seems really smart and funny. Get him every time. Oh, hashtag jealous. So you should come back every month. How's your schedule look?
I mean, do you pay transport?
We will give you a ride within 20 miles.
That's not bad.
Oh, pick
I mean,
it
I
from the
live a
airport.
good 300 miles away, but...
Okay. We'll give you a ride from the airport. Even SFO.
Wow.
Like, not just SJC.
That's a big
SFO.
deal.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know exactly where we are right now because you picked me up from where I'm staying and then we drove for a bit. So are we near to where I was staying beforehand, or?
We are like 5 miles from that, I'm guessing.
Pretty close.
4 miles? I don't
Maybe
know.
a long walk.
We are in Mountain View, California. You were staying in Sunnyvale. Where you're performing this weekend at Rooster T. Feathers.
Yeah, I am.
Yes, on Saturday and Sunday.
And Thursday and Friday, but you missed those
You
ones.
missed those. Don't bother.
Oh, they were good.
Oh, I think they're some of
Oh
the
my
best shows
God.
I've ever seen.
I think probably there's no topping what happened last
And
night.
you can't reproduce that thing you did last night.
Oh my God, with the
when the
stuff.
thing fell down,
With the things?
no one expected
Oh.
that to happen.
Oh, people will be talking about that for a long time.
And then the police
well,
came.
the people who can still talk.
The police had to come in and break that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't do that.
And
stuff
not
again.
even like not the emergency service. I mean, like the band, the police, came in. They reformed just to deal with what happened last night. They
was
put
great.
aside their differences.
All right. So you don't sound like other people. You
no,
must be
I sound more
are-
imposing and
You're a foreigner.
yeah.
I got it. You're a foreigner. Like me, I'm a foreigner.
Yeah, you are. What are you a citizen now of this country?
I am of this country, and the last country.
Oh, you get to have dual citizenship.
Get to have dual citizenship.
Woo.
Yeah. So I can go to Canada.
Check out Captain Fancy.
I used to be, because I was Canadian, I can go to Cuba, and that was like the benefit.
Right.
And then became American. So even though my Canadian part of me could go, I couldn't really leave my American part at home.
okay.
So I couldn't go there then.
Well,
But now
you
it's all
can't, you
opening up.
can't leave your American passport in a drawer and just travel on your Canadian one?
Well, I could, but I think the government would say you are still an American citizen.
They still know.
And you were there, and that's not allowed.
I've still not gone to Cuba, and I really should, because I can.
Before your citizenship comes up
Yeah.
or something. Does being British help your comedy, you think, being in America? Like, I just like the funny British accent?
It helps, at least at first, because they think I'm more smart and charming than I am.
That's what I thought, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
You're like, he's so clever and charming.
Yeah.
An idiot, but I sound nice. That's all it is. It's just a good voice.
They have different words in Britain, right? Like, well, no, they have the same words, but different
Yeah,
pronunciations.
how does it work? Canada, you're sort of in between. So you've got a bit of the American vocab and a bit of the British stuff, and you do British spelling.
All we do, we have British spelling, we have U's in words, and we say Z.
Okay,
So like last night, ZZ Top was playing in Saratoga.
Right. what does it mean to you when someone says the word momentarily?
It means in a moment this will happen.
Okay,
I think.
because in England it's for a moment.
Oh.
So if someone in England says I'll be with you momentarily, that means I'm going to be with you for a very short amount of time and then I'm going to leave.
Oh, that's not at all what we think that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think, yeah, soon you'll be with me
Yeah.
for as long as I need you.
Right? Yeah. So the Canadians have the American version of momentarily.
I guess so, yeah. I think we're all Canadians, American vocab except for that Z.
Cool.
And
See, we're learning.
you say, I like
didn't
that how
think you'd
you...
tune in to learn, but you did.
Suckers.
Look what you get from this show. You get education without whether you like it or not.
Say aluminum.
Aluminium.
Ah, I love it. And,
Yeah.
Jonathan Ives from Apple, he says that word
yeah.
sometimes, and it's endearing.
Were you working in the same department as him for a bit?
No, but I was working physically near him, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd see him in the cafeteria sometimes.
Sir Jonathan Ive now.
Yeah. I had to email him because I'm a Canadian,
Yeah.
so I'm subject to the laws of me calling him sir. Like Americans don't have to call him sir because
Oh, right, yeah.
Americans hate the British monarchy and all that. The Canadians are still in it, so I have to say,
You're still a subject to the realm, so you have to.
yeah,
And also, he's obviously your knight, so he will, if like a battle commences.
I got to hide behind him.
Yeah, and you have to, I presume, do you have to help him with his armor and everything? Like, are you his knave? How does it?
Knave? No, that hasn't come up yet. I think the interns.
Right.
Yeah, the Canadian interns have to do that. So, we have a few moments left. You are in a podcast which I listen to every week.
Well, thank you.
It's called Probably Science.
Yeah, it is.
And you talk about science, but not like professionals.
We just got shot with an empty Nerf gun.
Uh-oh. It's jamming.
Yes, Probably Science is the show. We go through the week in science news with funny people.
Right.
And then every so often we have scientists on. Like normally we stumble through the stories, and then sometimes we get professional scientists on, and they're like, this is
What, if
how it actually
anything,
works.
is your science background?
I have a degree in mathematics, which was 15 years ago, and I've forgotten nearly all of it. But it's still like,
Did you do any math, or did you go right into jokes as a career?
I started doing stand-up when I was a student. I started writing comedy in my first year, and I started performing it by my third year. And then I went straight into, and then I had some temp jobs, but basically I went straight into stand-up. So I've never used my degree other than, it was 3 years away from the real world when I got to play around and go like, hey, I quite like making people laugh. Maybe that's the thing So I'm useless at the subject now.
All right.
But I can follow it enough to talk nonsense on a podcast.
All right. Well, great show.